selling with authenticity.
It's building that relationship.
About the value.
Because you want to make that impact.
It can make you happier.
Elevate others around
Welcome
us.
to the Selling from the Heart podcast, your home for authentic, effective, and socially integrated sales strategies to help you master the art of selling. Join your co-hosts Larry Levine and Daryl Amy, along with some of the world's best sales thought leaders and practitioners, as we explore ways to help you grow your sales.
Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host Daryl Amy here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Another great day in Selling from the Heart. As always, I enjoy podcasting. I love spreading the message, and we're going to have a terrific time with our guest today.
Oh, you get ready for some grit. We're going to have a super day today. You're going to love this episode. And we're here. We're stepping into fall, and we are just now weeks away, Larry, from the Breakthrough Sales Leaders Retreat. I'm so excited about this event coming up. I can hardly stand it.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. Great things always happen. It seems like when we get together with you, myself, and Dave Sanderson, something always happens. We created this. It's been a vision for well over a year now. We're going to have an amazing time as we bring sales leaders together to talk about how they could break through into this upcoming year. By the way, the upcoming year, I can't believe I'm actually saying that. What the heck?
This is day one of Q4. How did that happen? It's amazing, but here we are. And if you're a sales leader or you know one, make sure they find out about the Breakthrough Sales Leaders Retreat. You can go to breakthroughsalesretreat.com. That's breakthroughsalesretreat.com. Learn all about the mindset, skill set, and tool set that you're going to get in this power-packed. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. It's coming up October 20th in sunny Fort Worth, Texas. Make sure to join us at the Breakthrough Sales Leaders Retreat, breakthroughsalesretreat.com. Larry, you know what it takes to be a leader? I know what it takes to be a sales leader. It takes grit to be a sales leader.
It sure does.
And isn't it great that we've got Laurie Sudbrink in the house today? Laurie, welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this talk.
So am I. We're going to have an amazing time. Hey, by the way, you threw the feng shui off on this, Daryl. You introduced Laurie, but nevertheless, welcome,
I got excited. Laurie's a fellow Canadian, and we've got a great. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Laurie's the author of an incredible book called Leading with Grit, inspiring action and accountability with generosity, respect, integrity, and truth. We're going to dive into some really powerful ideas today, Laurie. But as we get started, you know the question that every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers, and that is, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
Yeah. Sell from the heart is really about believing in your product or your service, really loving that product or service, and then believing in yourself. And the last part of the equation is wanting to help somebody with a solution to something. So that to me is the epitome of selling from the heart. You really want to help somebody with something you believe in.
Oh, this is so good because I love hearing the belief word, but wanting to help somebody at Selling from the Heart, Laurie, we call this giving a rip. And people really, it's a polite way. All you people watching and listening, you can insert other words, but y'all know where I'm going with this. Is about giving a rip. It's sincerely wanting to help that person and that company become even better than they're at right now. But I think it all starts, and this is a great way to kick this off, Daryl. You use the word believe. It all starts with believing in yourself. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's so cool. This book, Grit, this is so relevant to sales professionals and sales leaders. I've been enjoying this book. Tell us a little bit about the backstory. Where did an idea of grit come from? And what does it stand for? I think I already gave a preview in the intro.
Well, you know, I want to give you a really backstory real quick because I was raised in a huge family, a middle child with 14 of us.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember the Brady Bunch, but we were
Get it done. Bunch, you know? Get it done. That was a Brady Bunch. That's Brady Bunch times two.
Oh, it was real, you know, and it was a bit of a dysfunctional family, but we were definitely raised with grit. You did not quit. Passion, you know, perseverance, tenacity, that toughness. And that took me pretty far in, in my life. But it started to get in the way. That traditional sense of grit, pushing, grinding, getting things done. I started to have collateral damage in that. I was ruining relationships. I was, I was probably not spending the time I should have been with my daughter, and my own health. I sacrificed my own health because of that. And that's really the background, the backstory of grit. So we'll fast forward, and here I am. I had worked for a company for about 14 years, went off on my own, started my own business, and had been working with managers in leadership skills in the company I was with, and then started the business. And I just noticed the same thing, that these people in management positions were burning themselves out, being too gritty at times, or they were just, trampling over people, going up the ladder. And so grit being extremely important, but if we want it to be sustainable, we needed more than that. We needed grit with generosity, respect, integrity, and truth. And those four characteristics, of course, are really strong on their own, but they also get even more powerful as a roadmap when we invert and take it from truth and go to generosity.
Here's what's interesting, because, by the way, I've never heard grit and then the words afterwards associated together. So I love it. And if we can, just for the time's sake, let's just flip this on its head just for a moment. Because what would be the words if, I'm going to throw you on the spot, Laurie, my apologies, but taking the words out, the acronym for grit. But if you just had to define grit through the lens of the average salesperson based on what they see out there, how are they going to define grit? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it would be the tenacity, the, not giving up, the toughness, the passion about something. That's really the traditional definition, I would say, for most people, of grit.
Yeah, get busy, be resilient, dig in.
Resilience.
One more call, keep going, all of those things. Grit's important, but you're right. Yeah. We're seeing on the Selling from the Heart podcast and our guests over the last year, and this is a theme that we keep talking about, is the mental health state of the sales profession is not good. It's not good at all. And maybe part of it is related to what we're doing or what we're talking about here today, which is, yes, we need grit. Yes, we need to keep moving forward, but how we go about getting and building and sustaining grit, you've got a different take on that. And I think it's really, really fresh. So coach us through this. And when you do grit, you usually do it backwards, right?
Yeah. Do some back. Yeah. And we like to say, get your grit together. So have a little fun with it, right?
That's right. So y'all, if you're watching this, hold the mirror up and you'll see this thing backwards, but nevertheless.
That's right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So like I said, when you invert the acronym and you start with truth and work your way back to generosity, you'll get a natural kind of sense of generosity instead of something that's forced. But let's start with truth, because it all starts with truth. It all starts with what's inside of us, and knowing ourselves and accepting ourselves is critical to our success as salespeople, as sales leaders, as moms and dads, and, as human beings. It's that ability to really look inside and be brutally honest with yourself of what you believe in, what's valuable, and what's your priorities, what's your strengths, what's your limitations, where are you now, where do you want to go. It's really looking at that objectively and being able to then not judge it. Oh, I should be here, I should be doing that, or I should be at this level. It's being able to accept yourself right there at that level, because the more we can accept ourselves there, then we can move forward. But otherwise, we're resisting. We're causing this resistance, and we're getting in our own way with that. So truth is that ability to really look inside. And to do that, take first of all, just real self-awareness. It's one of my favorite things to do is pay attention to my emotions, so I help other people with that too. Your emotions are a great trigger. As soon as you feel frustrated, overwhelmed, pissed off, whatever that feeling is, you look inside instead of outside at what's doing that. You look inside at yourself and go, well, what's the thought that's driving that? What thought caused me to feel this way? Where did that thought come from? Does that thought work for me anymore? It's that kind of introspection. You can get a mentor, read a great book, get a coach to help you work on this if you need to, or just journal and spend some time every day. Maybe it's just 5 minutes. Maybe it's on your drive, just reflecting and going a little deeper and asking yourself, being curious with yourself, is this true? Does this work for me? So it's that exploration and to find out what's going on inside of you.
I love this because it's asking yourself the tough questions. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us, that's just facing it. I will throw my hand up on this. I wish I would have uncovered and unpacked this earlier on in my career as opposed to later on in my career. And, I know we have a lot of young listeners in the Selling from the Heart, community who listen to the podcast. They watch us on YouTube. I'm here to tell you that stay true to this, because if you can really find this journey to uncover who you are and you're willing to ask yourself the tough questions, you're going to learn so much about yourself. Is it difficult? Yes. Is it hard? Yes. Is it different? Yes. It's well worth it. Thanks for bringing this to the forefront.
Yeah. Yeah. That journey of finding your truth too, of course, we'll go to integrity next, but that's the foundation of being able to be true to yourself, to be able to live, to be able to really be authentic and not wear masks and not, fake and try to be somebody that you're not. That's really the foundation to that.
And it's so easy to get lost in this as sales professionals. This sales profession that we're in makes it easy. You said at the beginning of your chapter on truth, I never realized how lost I was, how many masks I wore. And, Laurie, one of the things we see in sales is we're almost, being asked to put on a mask. Like Larry talks about the empty suit, right? That corporate robot. I always talk about my sales journey. That first job out of college, they said, this is what you're going to say. This is what you're going to wear. This is how you're going to handle this. And there was intentionally no room. It was hard. You get lost inside that really quickly. But I'm curious, what happens? What's the negative side of this? Like when it's related to grit, what happens if you don't have a grasp on truth, on your authentic self?
Yeah, well, that exactly what you just said. We get lost. We end up trying to please other people. We end up feeling that imposter syndrome. We end up feeling like we're not enough when we're sitting at the table with other people. We'll end up not feeling. We'll end up stressed. We'll end up burned out. It's just too much energy and effort to not be yourself. We're expending so much energy trying to be something else, trying to please somebody else that it's just, it results in burnout. It results in lost relationships and things like that. So it's much easier once we get to that level, but we're not really raised that way to think about, oh, who am I, and to explore inside. We're just not, it's just like, just go, just do, and it's not, we kind of want to be accepted too, right? So we try to belong. That's a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We have that need to belong as human beings, and in doing that, we can lose ourselves sometimes. We can do both, but we need to make sure that we know who we are and what's important to us, so that we can stay true to that along our path.
Oh, I love this stuff. I just have flashbacks of how I carry myself. It's like, hey, sorry, Laurie. Every now and then I have like these flashback moments, and I think our guests are actually looking at me and they're speaking at me and they're going, I know something about you that, never mind.
Where were you 20 years ago when I did this? This journey though of self-discovery and the subtitle of the book, Selling from the Heart, is how your authentic self sells you. I mean, this truth is important, but that kind of brings us to the next point, is integrity. And I love how you define integrity as aligning with the truth. Yeah. Unpack that for us. That's powerful.
Yeah, the integrity piece is taking action on your truth. And so, absolutely, it's aligning with your truth. So, if you say something's important to you, are you taking action to show it's important to you? Say, I say, oh, health and wellness is important to me, but I come home, I'm laying back on the couch, I'm eating Snickers bars and potato chips, and and I'm not doing anything. That's not being in integrity. That's not aligning to my truth. And so, it's taking that action on our truth, and it's doing what we say we're going to do. So it builds trust when we know ourselves and we stay true to ourselves with that integrity. It shows a level of trust as well, so people can rely on us, and they believe that what we say we're going to do, we're going to do it. It's that ability to do your best with what you have. It's not that definition, like that unattainable definition of being perfect. It's not about that. Because a lot of people will say, oh, if that means I have to do this all the time. And then they have put this pressure on themselves to be flawless. No, it's like, it's doing the best you can to align to your truth. And when you don't, then you just say it, oh, I messed up, and you clean up the mess. You fix that damage that you made because you didn't do what you said you were going to do, or you didn't align to your truth. You share you're more transparent, you're more vulnerable, you're willing to share these things about yourself with integrity.
This is so important, and I'm sitting here listening to what you're saying, and the first couple things that flash through my head, especially in looking this through the lens of a sales professional or a sales leader, is the power and the influence that social media has on us and how people carry themselves. And we go back to truth and integrity as we work this backwards, is how many times in a given day or a given week, in a given month, that we're comparing ourselves and how we carry ourselves to how we see people carrying themselves based on how they choose to position themselves online. It wrecks with salespeople. Totally wrecks with salespeople.
Oh, it's so true. And, it used to be like, what was the saying? Keep up with the Joneses, right? That kind of neighbor.
Only it were that easy, right?
I know. It's like, oh my gosh. And now it's like expanded.
Keep up with the world, like, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Because we've got all this access and we can see all of this. And I am seeing a trend of people being more real and authentic. At least on LinkedIn. I'm only on LinkedIn. I got off all the other social media platforms. So I'm living there kind of. I'm on there every day. And I am seeing a trend. Some people don't like it. They're like, oh, what is this, Facebook? They're like, but I like it when it's genuine and somebody's just like, they're, had a bad day today. Oh my God, and they're just on there having a video of themselves without their makeup on and stuff. And they're just talking to you. I feel more connected to that person. I feel like I can trust that person when they're being authentic in that way.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, and a lot of that is, this integrity. I love that quote. Be yourself because everyone else is taken, right? Just be you, show up, understand who you are, bring that to the marketplace. So this is so powerful. So we talk about truth and integrity, but this brings us to the R, which is a really cool twist on respect. I love how you talk about respect. Unpack that for us.
Yeah, sure. And I can't help but think of that, Aretha Franklin, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. But yeah, respect, it happens first here, right? Like the self-respect. If we know ourselves and accept ourselves, we live in accordance with that. That's already showing self-respect.
Beautiful.
And it's so important to respect ourselves, because then we're going to take care of ourselves. Then we're going to do what we need to do to be healthy, to be happy, to respect that, we're going to make mistakes. And so we're showing that self-respect so that we can then authentically and genuinely respect other people. And that respect of other people comes in the form of, hey, respect that everybody's different. Maybe I'm a sales manager and I have a certain way of doing something and I want everybody to do it the same way. Well, maybe that doesn't work that well for someone else. There's certain things that we've got to do, but let people be themselves. Let people, really express themselves and work the way that they need to work as well. And respect that you don't know their truth. You don't know what you don't know the backstory of each person. The better that you get to know your people, then you will, but we don't know somebody else's truth. We haven't walked in their shoes, and respecting that, every single person brings something different, unique, and really appreciating those differences in people. Respect there's so much to unpack. Of course, with each one of these, there's a chapter on each one of these, but respect is so aligned with how confident and how happy you are as an individual. I can't help but think of that biblical saying, and I'm probably not going to say it the right way, but it's your cup, when your cup is full, right? It runneth over. You have enough, to give to other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's interesting that I think as sales professionals, we're taught to respect the client and the prospect. We do that because, we have servants' hearts, or sometimes we're just scared. We want to get the deal, but when you don't, there's some real talk there, right? But when you don't show up with self-respect, this is all out of balance now. And I think that a lot of sales professionals are intimidated almost, or they haven't brought self-respect to the table. So this whole thing's out of equilibrium. And I think buyers can smell it. I think they know it. And I think it's a huge issue.
Yeah.
You're right. I love the way you said it. They can smell it. They know it. There's this energy, right? There's this energy. It's in your nonverbals. It's in it's in your verbals. It's so much a part of your whole essence, and they definitely pick up on it, even if they don't realize they pick up on it, and it repels instead of attracts. And that's a big part of all of this, and that kind of leads us into generosity, because it's like
yeah, but this is what's interesting, because I've heard you time and time again use the word backstory. By the way, I love it, and it ties in with respect as well, because I'm a big believer you never really know somebody until you know their backstory. And you just have to respect where people have come from, not only in the past, but where they're at now and where they're heading. I love all this stuff and working this thing backwards. I never really thought about it, because we always worked this. Every time I've heard grit, it's always started with the G. This is great.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is so cool. I mean, this progression, you mentioned really early on, I picked up, you said we usually start with gratitude, but by starting with truth and integrity and respect, we actually get to more of a genuine type of gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude and generosity, really, and it was hard to pick the G word, because I loved gratitude and I loved generosity, and I just felt like generosity encompassed even more than that, because there is a gratitude in generosity, right? Because you've got that nature of just feeling like there's enough, it's abundance, you don't feel scarcity. And so when you know yourself and accept yourself, the truth, and you are aligned to that, you're respecting yourself and others, you naturally feel like you have enough. You're aligned properly. You've said no when you need to. You've aligned yourself in the right way. And so that generosity, it comes in the form of kind of like pay it forward. You don't expect anything back. You're not giving to expect something back. You do get a lot back, but you're not doing it for that reason. You're doing it from the heart. You're doing it from your soul. You're doing it because you really want to, not because you have to. So say for anybody in a management position, sales management, you think about the one-on-one meetings we should have with our direct reports, because it helps so much to relate, connect, communicate, get productivity up. If you have your grit together, so to speak, you want to have those meetings. You're looking forward to those meetings. You know the value of connecting in that way and helping somebody else shift their thoughts and beliefs and be able to get their grit together. So generosity there's less effort. It's easier. There, you're not, you're attracting, you're not repelling.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, this is so good. I just have to throw this out there. It's just, I love asking questions like this to salespeople and sales leaders. If we work this grit backwards, I'd ask everyone just to think for a moment and put our thinking caps on. Because in selling from the heart, we're all about building authentic relationships and bringing meaningful value as part of building trust and credibility. So think about this and how your interactions with your clients are. What would it mean if we flip this backwards And starting from the minute you watch or listen to this podcast, you're bringing truth, integrity, respect, and generosity into how you interact with your clients and your future clients. What would start to happen? Just think about that for a moment. This is awesome stuff. I get fired up over stuff like this.
Yeah.
So good.
It's
Laurie, it's powerful. This is so powerful. And I know if our listeners haven't gone and bought the book yet, you need to hit pause and do this right now. I love this last quote I want to bring out as we wrap this up. You said actually in the introduction to the book, we might not have much control over the direction of the marketplace. And don't we know that? Or we could say we might not have much control over our clients or prospects and the decisions or timing and all kinds of dynamics that stress us out. But we can make a big impact with the way we lead and the way we sell.
Yeah, it's so true, and when we start inside and when we change what's happening in here, it flows out of us, and it just attracts more, and we're going to end up in the right places at the right times, and it's not going to be so so forced, so to speak. It's just going to come more naturally.
I love it. I love it. Laurie, thank you so much for sharing time with us. You are so aligned. We're just going to call you a Selling from the Heart champion because you're awesome. We so appreciate you.
I love it.
In addition to hitting pause right now and buying Leading with Grit, Inspiring Action and Accountability with Generosity, Respect, Integrity, and Truth, your book, how else can people get more of Laurie Sudbrink in their lives?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, I'm on LinkedIn every day, almost every day. I usually take Saturday or Sunday off, but almost every day. So, message me there if you're on LinkedIn too, and send a message about selling, from the heart, because I'd love to know that you actually listen to this podcast when we're connecting. And I don't think I mentioned to you, but I'd love to offer, if you have some show notes, I could offer the free grit assessment. So
it's in the book. It's so powerful.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can do it online now, and you'll
cool.
get the results emailed directly to you. So we can put a link in there for people. That's the best way to get to it, rather than off along.
Well, we'll get that in the show notes. Laurie, thank you for your generosity with us today. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much. Awesome, awesome, awesome time.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Larry, we got to get some grit around here. I love it. Was so powerful. What a fresh perspective on something we desperately need as sales professionals. Here we are at the beginning of Q4. It's time to dig in. Let's try grit a different way in 2022.
Yeah, and hold the mirror up and look at this thing backwards and start with truth. And this is so powerful, because in a world full of lack of trust, what better way to start building grit than to start with truth? The truth with yourself first. This was great. So I geek out on this stuff. So
great way to follow up on this trust building challenge we just had, and also a great way to prepare for the Breakthrough Sales Leaders Retreat. How's that for a segue, Larry? You don't want to miss it.
You don't want to miss it. Hey, dude, you never miss a beat. Come on, man.
Hey, it's coming up October 20th. That's just around the corner. So snag a ticket, get to Fort Worth on October 20th. We're going to have a fantastic time. Come in the evening before. We'll hang out. Sales leaders with Dave Sanderson, Larry, and myself. Mindset, tool set, skill set. It's going to be powerful. BreakthroughSalesRetreat.com. Larry, I just want to say thank you. Laurie was saying how she loves to connect with our podcast listeners. One of the things I heard yesterday from one of our previous guests was how blown away he was that he heard from our audience on LinkedIn. That we reached out. And I'm like, hey, man, this is who we are. This is how we do it. So reach out and connect to Laurie, connect to Larry and myself if we're not already connected. This is an amazing community of authentic sales professionals. You've listened to the podcast, and you made it to the end, so you're a part of it. So come join us. We've got an amazing fall lined up for you. We want to keep you motivated, inspired, and moving forward with grit in this fourth quarter, and it's going to be a great time, Larry.
No, I've just enjoyed it. I'm glad that you brought this up because I've always shared this. Selling from the heart's a community. It's a community of like-minded sales professionals and sales leaders who, quite frankly, are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We've all agreed it's time to rise up and say no to empty suits. It's about bringing sincerity, substance, deep business substance, and generosity out into the marketplace because the sales world needs it. And we appreciate each and every one of you for either listening or watching these two dudes on YouTube.
That's right. That's right. So we'll see you again next time. We've got great things ahead. Till then, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep adding real value, develop grit, and most of all, sell from the heart.